Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be a sort of annual life update. I want to share with you what's been happening in my life, what's been happening in my business, what's been happening with my health, and I also want to talk about the future of this channel. If you've been following me for a while, I thought maybe that could be interesting for you to find out what I have in store for you, what I'm working on. And so let's get into it, shall we? As some of you know, I moved to Portugal in the summer of 2022. So I've been living here for about 2.5 years, and the beginning was a bit rough. I had some health issues, some injuries, some surgery, and it's really only been this year, 2024, that I really feel like I've arrived fully, like in my life here, in the life that I'm living here. And that has mainly to do with my health. And everything sort of after April, looking back now this year, has just been awesome. It's really been the best time. I have really embraced the simplicity that this area and this place offers me, and I've really embraced the slowness. And it's just so easy to slow down. Like, it's hard to get stressed here because it's such a beautiful area. We live right by the ocean, and it's a small little town and lots of nature around. And so that's been absolutely wonderful. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And so looking back at this year, I feel like it's been my most boring year like ever in terms of the things that I've done. I've traveled very little. And that mainly has to do with the fact that I just feel so happy here. I feel really grounded and rooted and just at home here. And there really isn't that much of a need to go anywhere, which that's a feeling I don't really know. This is like the first time. You know, when I was a teenager, all I remember was I wanted to get away. I wanted to travel the world. And oof, I traveled a lot for so many years. And here I am now. I'm 41 now, and I finally feel like I have a home here. And that's just been so nourishing. So when I look back at my life, this has definitely been a very boring year, and I love it. I really only traveled a handful of times, a couple of times to Germany, mainly for work, but also my brother got married. I traveled to the north of Italy with my wife. We just had a really beautiful vacation there for 2 weeks in the mountains, and that was awesome, just hiking and sauna and amazing food. And I spent a few days with my family in the mountains in Austria, and then we went on a small retreat. It was a 4-day retreat in the north of Portugal in the Douro Valley. It was with 2 meditation teachers that we absolutely love. And so that was a really beautiful and very special time. Met some wonderful people there. And so that was really it. And in terms of traveling, that is as little as it gets when I reflect on these past, 20 plus years. And I don't care. Like, this feels really, really good to not feel the constant need to get out there and fly around the world. Instead, I love just being at home. I'm such a homebody. Maybe that is because I'm a Cancer. And apparently Cancers really love their home. And I never really knew how wonderful it is to really feel at home. So that's a big one. Of course, another big event that happened this year is that we had our wedding ceremony, our wedding party with all of our friends and family in May of this year. We had it just outside of where we live, about 10 minutes drive or so, and it was a really beautiful, very simple location, very Portuguese location. And we had a small little wedding. I think we had maybe 40 or 50 people come down here, visit us. And that was, wow, it was a lot of work. Organizing a wedding is a lot of work. And even if it's a small wedding. And of course, we sort of knew, we heard about it, but when you actually then do it, yeah, that hits different. And we had the most beautiful time. It was, the whole thing went from Thursday until Sunday to really make it worthwhile for everyone that flew in. And yeah, so I'm very grateful that got to happen. We officially got married at the courthouse a few months before, in September of last year. We got married just outside of Lisbon, and we went on a little honeymoon to Ibiza, of all places, but it was actually a really awesome honeymoon. Very chill, very relaxed. And yeah, but then to be able to celebrate our love and our union with our family and friends was just very, very special. So that was definitely a huge, huge highlight. Another big highlight was that we sort of initiated a potential, very potential fertility journey. And that is something that, I don't know, I guess for the longest time, I didn't really think much about creating a family and having children because I was just in and out of relationships. There wasn't a whole lot of stability in my life, and that was just not something that was top of mind. And I've now been with my wife for 4.5 years. So we're coming up to 5 years in 6 months. And eventually the topic came up. And because she's several years older than me and I'm 41, it kind of really only leaves me to go through this realistically. And now that I have a very healthy body and I feel really good, I feel like it could potentially really be an option. Of course, we shouldn't be waiting for much longer. And 41 is already, quite old when it comes to, carrying a baby and giving birth. But I've been doing a few tests. Everything is looking really, really wonderful and awesome. And so it would be silly not to go for it. And it's really something that I've been thinking about when the thought kind of became bigger and bigger and bigger. I just realized, wow, whenever I'm on my deathbed, I feel like I would regret at least not trying. So it looks like we might go for it and at least give it a try. Who knows what will happen on this journey. And then we'll see. But it could potentially be very life-changing this next year. And it's just been an interesting idea to explore because actually it's been interesting to explore in practice rather than just in theory, because for months I was really stuck up here just thinking about it and just really I wasn't sure if I wanted to go ahead with it for many, many reasons. And it wasn't until we made the appointment at the fertility clinic here in Lisbon where I felt like, oh, okay, so actually taking practical steps to the potential of doing this makes a lot more sense than just sitting around thinking about it. And here we are. Like I said, it's still very much a potentiality, and I'll let you know how things go in time. But yeah, who would have thought? Now, the foundation for all of this that I've just shared and just the foundation for how I experienced this year has definitely been my health. As mentioned, I've had my fair share of issues over the years, not just since I moved to Portugal, but for many years before that. I actually recently sat down to calculate how many years I had to deal with health issues in one way or another. And my main issues were gut issues, really intense SIBO and IBS and leaky gut. I had a lot of skin issues, eczema, psoriasis. I had a lot of chronic pain. I mean, lots of stuff. And it was really, I think I calculated 13, 14, 15 years, something like that. It started in my 20s. When I was about 23, I started having gut issues to the point where I could barely eat. And there were times where I was really, really struggling in life, mainly because of my body and just how much I was in pain. And so over the years, it's gotten better. 100% it's definitely gotten better. But there was always still something lingering, or I had an injury, like my broken wrist where I required surgery. This was last year, 2023. And then I had my frozen shoulder. And so even though like the chronic stuff had sort of disappeared and was healed, I was then facing, pain from injuring myself and surgeries. And then the frozen shoulder scenario was a bit of a mix because it resulted from the broken wrist, but it turned into a chronic thing. And I just felt like it was never gonna get better. And I always had this thing in the back of my head. It's like, well, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? I could never really fully relax into, I have a healthy body. Because when the thought came up and I would say to my wife, hey, wow, this is like the first time I feel really good and my body's healthy. I swear to you, it only took a few days. And then suddenly something would come up, an old pain would flare up, or I'd have an accident and so on. And so this was kind of my issue for many, many years. And this year, ever since I would say April, I feel like my body is truly healthy. I have no more chronic pain. I have no gut issues. My skin's great. Like everything's just awesome. I feel really healthy. I feel really fit. I feel energized. I have a lot of energy, which was also something that I was struggling with on and off throughout my health journey. And that's just been, I can't even explain how grateful I am to have a healthy body now, because after all these years, here I am at 41 and I can finally say my body's healthy. And not just healthy, but I've just really reached new levels of like inner regulation, new levels of inner peace. And yes, that, all of that, it's definitely been an upwards trend for several years now. But this year, I don't know, something shifted. Nothing hurts. My nervous system is in a really good place. My life is not very stressful. It's pretty chill, and I have really good routines in place. And I've been very consistent with my workouts, moving my body. I've been going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. I do yoga. I go for regular walks. And above all, I finally got back on my surfboard in June of this year. Finally, after the wedding, and after everything has healed up, my shoulder, my wrist, and all of it, I was finally ready to get back on the board and get in the waves, and which was very humbling in the beginning because I hadn't surfed in a year or longer. And that was something that was so hard for me, because one of the main reasons we moved here to this particular place was so that I could go surfing every day. And I think, yes, up until June, so almost for 2 years, I think I went surfing 4 or 5 times. But since June, I've been surfing a lot. I'm taking a little break right now because it's really cold, or the water is really cold, and it is also winter time here in Portugal. Although the waves are amazing, but I'm just not a cold water surfer. But otherwise, I was surfing a lot during the summer whenever I could. And surfing is just such a great passion of mine. It really helps me to get out of my head and just have a good time. And it's just play and pleasure and just having fun and having a good time. And yeah, so surfing, big one. And just overall, like my mental health has been very stable, very consistent. Of course, there's the occasional up and down, but there haven't been any dramas. There hasn't been any crazy challenges, and I just feel internally and externally just very regulated, very stable, and wow, it feels amazing to talk about this and to say it out loud. It really feels amazing. So it's really something. When I look back on my 20s and also my early 30s, we really take our health for granted. And I did back then as well, even though, I was already dealing with chronic pain issues, but still, I just didn't really appreciate a healthy body. And it's really not until now that I'm in my 40s that I'm like, wow, health really is everything. And I am doing my absolute best to keep going in this way and to just support my body going forward in the best ways possible. Let it be with my diet, let it be with my sleep. I'm on a really good sort of supplement regime and protocol, which I feel like really helps with my energies and digestion and everything. So thank you, body. Thank you, body. You're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. So next up is business. Well, it's been a really good year in terms of business, and the main focus has been on our Intersoma Breathwork teacher training. We started it back in 2021, I believe. I think we're in our 4th year now, the 4th group, because we only run one group a year. And yeah, it's just been growing. And it's been a beautiful evolution, maybe you could say. When I look back at how we started, it was a 5-month training. Was it 6 months? Maybe it was 6 months. 6 months training with a small group, and now we're up to 9 months, and the next round is actually going to be 12 months. And it's just been such a wonderful project to really pour my heart and soul into, and it's been extremely fulfilling to work with people, a group of people, for an extended period of time, and to see their growth and their evolution. And yeah, that's been extremely fulfilling. And I get to do it with my wife, which of course, can bring its challenges, and it definitely did so in the beginning, but I feel like we've really sort of found our ways to navigate the waters of running a business together. The cool thing is, and I'm really proud of that we almost have 100% certification rate. Every now and again, there's maybe 1 or 2 people that don't get certified, but last year, for example, the entire group got certified, which is wonderful and really doesn't happen a lot in these sort of professional certification trainings. And this year, for this group that started in October, it was the first time also that we brought on mentors. So these are alumni from our past trainings, and they've been supporting us, they've been supporting the group. And that's been also a really cool learning curve, what it's like to sort of extend the team, because we really feel like, I don't want to be the leader, I don't want to be the guru. I would like to create a team and to run this training as a team together. So that's kind of like the future vision. So the training's been amazing. I'm very grateful that it's been going so well. I think a big part of it as well is our podcast that we run. And I think we only have maybe 17 or 18 episodes. So we don't have a regular posting schedule or publishing schedule, but it's just been a really great channel for us to build trust with people that are interested in the training. And it's also been a lot of fun to dive into topics deeper with my wife. We run it together. And so I'm really curious to see how the podcast develops. I have a lot of ideas. I wish my days had more hours, but for now, I feel like we're in a really good trajectory going forward. This year, I also really dove into learning everything about paid ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. That's been very challenging, I have to say. I really didn't think it was going to be this complex, and I feel like it broke my brain a little bit in the process. And we signed up for this program, and where I learned everything from how to create ads, running the campaign, and creating a webinar. And it's been something I really wanted to sort of master for a long time. And this year was the year that I just didn't have any more reasons to not do it. And it was something where we felt like it would be a really good addition to the podcast and social media, is to just be able to have a bit more of a consistent flow of interested people. And that was very successful, actually. Even though I had no idea what I was doing, I feel like I did a pretty good job. And so now I know how to run meta ads, and I'm already planning our second campaign for our next group that starts next October. And the training is in German only at this point. We've had ideas to expand into the English-speaking market and run and training in English. That's been something that has been on the back burner for a while. However, because the training is so extensive and just it's turned into a pretty big operation in terms of all the bits and pieces, I'm not sure if we can manage to run 2 trainings at the same time, because there's so much, not just brain power and just physical energy that goes into these trainings, but just also attention, and having to split our attention up into 2 groups and running 2 12-month trainings per year. I don't know. I feel like at this point we might just stick to the German training, even though it would be amazing to run an English training, because I really believe that there's nothing out there quite like our training. I think it's very special in terms of how we run the training, in terms of the expertise that we bring into the training, my wife Christine and I, and our backgrounds and our experiences, and just bringing the 2 worlds of transformational breath work together with functional breathing and regulating breathing practices, plus somatic experiencing and NARM, and just really truly making this training not just trauma informed or trauma sensitive, but really becoming a professional breath worker that really knows how to work with trauma. And we've also been talking about other potential projects for next year. We started creating an online course, like a self-study online course, sort of like the German version of my English course, my Breathwork and Nervous System Foundations course. And that sort of went into a beta phase with our current students, so that they got the course, like we recorded all the lessons, recorded all the meditations, and then everyone that signed up for a teacher training got access to the course. But we haven't openly or publicly launched the course, because we eventually realized actually we would like to run this course as a live cohort training, like a 4-week training, and with like weekly sessions. And so this is something that looks like we're gonna launch very soon. So that's been very exciting. Another exciting thing is that I've done quite a few professional trainings this year. I'm in my 3rd year of my somatic experiencing training, so I'm going to be graduating very soon, and that's been a really wonderful experience, super grateful. I did the level one of the NARM training. NARM stands for Neuroaffective Relational Model. It was created by Lawrence Heller. He has some amazing books on developmental trauma and attachment trauma. They're simply just called Healing Developmental Trauma, and then the Practical Guide to Healing Developmental Trauma. So if you're interested in that, then definitely go and check those books out. So we did level 1 training there. I also did another training which was called Pain Reprocessing Therapy, which is all about healing chronic pain, specifically neuroplastic pain. I'm not going to go into too much detail in this video. I think I'm going to make a separate video on chronic pain, neuroplastic pain. And if you're interested in chronic pain and you've been dealing with it for a while, you might just look into the work of Dr. John Sarno and Dr. Howard Schubiner. And the last training I started was a training to become a relationship coach, a trauma-informed relationship coach and attachment trauma coach. I'm still in the middle of it. I think I'm like 3 months in or so. That's been something that I've had on my radar for quite some time. I actually did a similar training like that. That was only for 3 months a couple of years ago. But I felt like I really wanted to go deeper. And so this one is a 1-year training. And yeah, it's something, because relationships have been my sort of biggest learning area in my life. And it's also where I've struggled with the most, but also felt like I've learned the most. And it just really feels like something that I can really help people with because I've been there. And so doing this sort of certification training now feels like a really great addition to my toolbox, which is really becoming bigger and bigger. But yeah, I love it. I love learning. And it's just something that I think I'm going to continue doing for many years, is just doing more professional trainings and developing myself in the process, but also developing the ways that I work with clients, with our students. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Conni the creator, because this year I feel like I've rediscovered my creative energies again. For those of you that don't know, today I'm a breath worker, a breath coach, a trauma practitioner, somatic coach, all these things. And before that, I was Conni the creator. I was creating a lot. I was writing. I was making a lot of videos. I was really into photography. I started my first blog in 2011, and I think my YouTube channel in 2013. And that was my identity for the longest time. And I've always been into cameras and writing ever since I was in my single digits. I think ever since I was like 8 or 9. And I feel like because I've embraced, this new identity and running this new business with our teacher training and breathwork alchemy, that the creator part in me has been silenced in a way and hasn't had its chance to fulfill its role, because it's still there. It doesn't just disappear. And I feel like this year, I really had the capacities again to truly connect to my inner creator and give it its space and its time to do what it does best. And that is making videos, is to write, and to express itself. And so I've always felt like these last few years, I started Breathwork Alchemy in 2019, 2020. And since then, my creative output in terms of, who I am as a creator just went down. But at the same time, it always felt like something was missing. And what was missing was being able to express myself in the ways that, I'd been doing before. And this year, I really feel like I'm tapping back into my creator identity. And I really want to, and I guess that speaks to what the future of this channel is. I really want to make regular videos again. I want to get back into photography. I want to get back into writing, and not just write about breathwork and the nervous system and trauma and somatics and whatnot, but write about a lot of other things. And for that, I'm really excited about. I've been getting into just a really good flow of focus, and I feel like that is also connected to how my health has improved and just having more sustained energy. I enrolled in this program called Dharma Artist Collective, run by Eric Godsey, who's an amazing guy. And I think I interviewed him back in 2019 or 2020, and he launched this community this year. And I got into it because he runs these, well, not just him, but like many other people that are in the community, they run these daily what are called Dharma sprints. And so we get together for 90 minutes, sometimes even several times a day. And we get together, we share what we want to work on, what we want to create. Then we do the thing. And then afterwards, we share how it went. And it's very simple in a way when I share it like that, but it's actually really, really powerful. I get so much stuff done. And it's really helped me to connect with other like-minded creators and artists. And that's been very, very fulfilling. I feel like 2025 is the year that my creativities are going to be unleashed in a whole new way. So I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet. All I do know is this channel, I guess I wanted to talk about this at the end of this video, but this channel, it's going to continue. I thought about starting a new channel many times, but I decided against it. This channel is it's really like the evolution of Conni. If you go back in my archives, you see just all the different iterations that I went through. And now my intention is to really dive deep into all areas of psychology, but also creativity, but especially psychology and the inner work, and dive into all these different topics on a very deep level. I'm really excited to share some topics with you that I haven't spoken about yet. And, you know, when I look back at the videos that I made before I took a YouTube break, I feel like it was all still very superficial. And so my intention is to go a lot deeper and to create a community again here on this channel. And for that, I know that I want to create and publish one video per week. It's on the one hand scary to commit to that. At the same time, it's very exciting. And I hope you're ready to get on this journey with me. If not, that's totally cool too. I think I'm gonna create a separate channel for maybe more vlog style content, more cinematic style content. So we'll see, but this is kind of where we're going from here. We're going deep. We're going deep. Another thing that I did was I started a Threads account, so Instagram Threads. I've always been really into Twitter, or X as they call it these days, but for many reasons, I just always felt very hesitant to get into it. And now, when I look at how this platform is going, and when I look at everything beyond that, I'm very happy that I didn't get into Twitter/X, and instead I got into Threads a couple of months ago, and that has turned out to be a really, really good decision. I think I started out with, well, because I started my Threads account when Threads was first launched, and back then everybody was coming to Threads, and so I think very quickly I had about 3,000 followers on there. And I was active for a little while, but then I stopped because I didn't really believe in the platform. I thought it was just a temporary hype. And then I got back into it 2 months ago, but basically those 3,000 followers were more or less dead. There was no interaction when I posted. And so I felt like I was starting from scratch. And today, as of December 29th, I have 11,000 followers. So in a matter of maybe 6 weeks, I've grown immensely, and it's been a lot of fun. I really like the platform. There's so many really awesome and cool people on there, and I'm super excited to keep creating on there and keep growing. And if you want to join me, then come and find me over on Threads. It's a really good place to be right now, for sure. You know, normally I would now talk about some of the challenges that I've experienced this year in 2024, but to be honest, there weren't that many. One challenge was definitely still at the beginning of the year, for the first few months, that I was still healing up my shoulder, my frozen shoulder, and my wrist. And that was at times very frustrating because I was doing all the things, and yet it was just a very, very, very slow process. And so, I mean, you know, looking back, it took a year to heal from my skateboard injury and the surgery, and to heal up my frozen shoulder. And At the time, I would have never thought this is going to take that long, but it did. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about patience, and that was definitely one challenge. Then we struggled with our dog Tony's anxieties for some time. Also at the beginning of this year, she started developing these anxieties last summer, 2023, and we did a lot of dog training around that. She's just very anxious out on the streets when we go for walks with her, and just very sensitive to noise. And there was a time where it was really hard for us to get her out of the house. She didn't want to leave the house because she was so scared, and we didn't really know why. Like there were a couple of triggers, but nothing massive. And so we were a little bit lost, and we did the dog training, and that helped a lot. But it was up and down, up and down. And it's not like we can go for like just a chill walk with her. It's always like we're always in training with her. And so that was something that was definitely challenging. But at this point now, many months later, I feel like we've made a lot of progress. Even though, as I said, it's not like she's overly confident yet, or I can just go for a nice stroll outside with her. But it's definitely, she's much better. She's definitely a lot more confident than she was a year ago. And again, it's just been a lot of patience and just keeping at it and just loving her through it. She's an amazing dog. She's just not made for this, for like people. She's made for, I think the best situation for her would be if we lived somewhere out in nature and just had a big backyard and there were just all dirt trails around her house. Like that would be perfect for her. That's where she feels the best, when she's out in nature. She just doesn't like cars and like civilization that much, maybe. And I mean, who could blame her? But overall, we love her to death. She's an amazing dog. She's super gentle and beautiful. And yes, she's sensitive. And other than that, what are my plans for 2025? To be honest, not that many. There's a few trips that we want to do. I'd like to go to Iceland for my birthday, which is at the end of June. And a couple of things, but nothing crazy. A week here, a week there. I want to go hiking in the mountains, like just really chill stuff, I guess, things that people in their 40s do. And I want to really be even more conservative in terms of my work-life balance. I really don't like that word, but I have also learned this year just how important it is to have stronger boundaries. And that means making it very clear to myself, when am I in work mode and when am I in just living my life mode. And that means generally I have my mornings clear of any calls or any commitments, and it's really dedicated for exercise, just my morning routine, going for a walk with Tony, things like that. And then we have lunch, and then usually I start to work in the afternoon, maybe around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. And then my cutoff time, though, and that's something that me and my wife sort of agreed on, is 7 p.m. during the week. 7 p.m., that's it. That's when we have dinner, and then we just chill out together or read a book or watch a film or something. So I really only have about 5 hours per day, 5 or 6 hours per day to dedicate to my business and my work. And I really like to keep it that way. And I sort of want to really make it very clear to myself and, what day is dedicated to what. I feel like I really would like to have a better structure. What I know is really important for me is to also spend time with my wife and to dedicate time to our relationship and to living life out there rather than just staring at a screen. And so in 2025, I feel like I want to be even more productive and creative during my work hours so that I can just shut my computer at 7 p.m. and not look at it on Sundays and actually live life. And this, my friends, is it. This is my little annual review. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to know in the comments if you want to share how this year has been for you, what's been happening, what are you looking forward to in 2025. I think overall I would give this year a 9 out of 10. I think that's in summary that's a 9 out of 10. I think that's pretty awesome. Really happy. I'm very grateful. Thank you, life. Thank you, body. And let's see what 2025 brings. So much love. See you soon. Peace.